Hi, this is Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal's Saddlery and Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. Today we're going to do a little feature video on our 8900 sole cutter. This machine is very similar to the machines that were offered by Landis many years ago, similar to the Landis 5-in-1 machines, except we are producing this machine brand new, quite possibly in its original form, quite possibly for the first time in the last 80 years. It's a very good machine. It was a mainstay of every shoe shop that was ever in existence from the late 1800s all the way up to present day. The machine was a workhorse for cobblers. They used it for virtually everything in shoe construction. There's a lot of different features on this machine that made it a general workhorse for use in shoemaking shops and so forth. First thing we want to talk about here is this leather sole cutter. And what it's designed to do is, if you have a pattern traced into your leather, you can actually just stick this in the machine and then force it through, or not force it through, but just get it started. And then you can see we can cut very intricate patterns in the leather. We could follow, for instance, a scribe pattern or a pattern, that we had put on with a pen or pencil. You can see I've sort of done a little scallop design in there, so we could draw a little pattern on there and then just follow it. And that's what people used this machine for, was to cut out soles, also to trim soles. So it was a very indispensable tool for that purpose. The other thing that the machine does mainly is it has a beveler slash skiver slash splitter on the top of the machine here. This is designed to take leather strips and put them at a taper, which they use a lot of times in shoe construction for soles and different things such as that. And in order to make that feature work, all you have to do is stick your piece of leather into the machine, and then you'll go ahead and pull it through, crank it through, and then you can see we have a strip of leather that's been split off the bottom. And I'll see if I can show you where we've got a bevel or a taper that's on that piece. And that was used a lot in construction of shoes. And then the final thing that we have on this machine is what they call a welt roller. This was also used to roll the welts when you had a boot that had stitching all the way around the sole of the boot. It was designed to roll those welts down. So you would take a boot or a shoe, and then you would stick it in here, put this down like that, turn the handle, and then you could roll the entire welt around the periphery of the boot. The other thing that people use this machine for quite a bit in the modern era is for trimming leather pads that they put on horses' hooves. So for instance, a farrier would use this to trim up the leather pads that they use for corrective shoeing, and for any issues where you would require a leather pad, or even they now make these pads out of synthetic materials as well, but it will cut that also. So not only does the machine cut leather, it'll also cut synthetic materials like rubber, soft plastics, and so forth. So the machine's a versatile machine used for years and years, decades and decades in the shoe industry, and now also a modern application for blacksmithing and farrier work. So if you have any additional questions about the 8900 sole cutting machine slash 5-in-1 machine, please feel free to give me a call directly. My name is Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal's Saddlery and Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. You can reach me at area code 330-692-1418, and I do thank you for your time today.